Hi, I'm Amber Bettis, and I'm going to be giving a speech on what Down syndrome is today. So, when I was a kid, I had this best friend who had a relative who had Down syndrome. Every time I saw her, she was the sweetest person to me. She would say hi, give me a hug, ask me how me and my family are doing, and I was just impressed with how much she remembered with being a person with Down syndrome. And then I realized, as I was talking to my mom, she was like, "What is Down syndrome? Do you even know what it is?" And I was like, "No." So I decided to give a speech about it. So I figured out that doctors don't exactly know what causes these cells to defect and give causes and symptoms effects and symptoms of Down syndrome. What they do know is what it is and what the difference in the cells is to make effects and symptoms of Down syndrome. So there are different types of Down syndrome. There's trisomy 21 Down syndrome that somehow end up with 3 copies instead of 2 copies of chromosome 21. And translocation Down syndrome is also very similar to trisomy 21 Down syndrome, but instead of just the chromosome 21 being an extra copy of just itself, this chromosome 21 is attached to the other cells in the body. There's also a third type of Down syndrome that we know of, which is a mosaic Down syndrome, but it is the rarest type of Down syndrome out there. Only some of the cells in their body have an extra chromosome 21 instead of all of them. So one question I always asked myself was, can Down syndrome be inherited? And the answer is most of the time, no. Most of the time, it is caused by a cell division mistake. But the only type of Down syndrome that can be inherited is translocation. So only 3 to 4% of people with Down syndrome have translocation Down syndrome, and only a few of the 3 to 4% actually inherited it. So what are the causes and symptoms of Down syndrome? There are mental disabilities, physical abnormalities, but you can't tell what kind of Down syndrome they have based off of their physical appearance. So the effects of Down syndrome is also different in each person. Most have physical abnormalities such as a flat nose, small ears, and short height. Their mental abilities also vary depending on how severe the Down syndrome is. Mental disabilities include trouble with reasoning, thinking, and understanding things. Some have health problems such as trouble hearing, heart problems, and seeing. Some have seizures and stuff of that sort. Some are more severe than others. Some of them do have to go get very important, risky heart surgery, but others do not. Like I said before, it all depends on the severity of the Down syndrome. Some do take longer to learn normal skills such as talking, walking, and developing social skills. However, some do get better and learn these and accomplish these things over time, and some of them even end up living on their own, and some do not. So to come to the conclusion, the doctors still aren't sure what causes their bodies to develop these extra chromosomes, but they do know that it has nothing to do with how their parents raised them or what environment they grew up in. Doctors all around the world are still trying to figure out why they develop an extra copy of chromosomes.